Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to talk about how you can approach your employer to maybe ask for an increase or for just like more money in general. And I know that it is such an uncomfortable subject to speak about to your employer. I for one know exactly how that feels. It took me literally 6 years to approach my employer to ask for like an increase. I've done it in various ways. I think I've done it in 4 different approaches, and I thought I would share just how I done it, and I'm hoping that this will help you as well. So stay tuned, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and let's get into this video. I for one didn't have financial literacy. It took me a very long time to feel comfortable to approach my employer and talk about money. I always feel that it is one of those very taboo subjects overall, and everyone now is advocating for people to educate themselves to be more financially literate, and I really hope that you are maybe doing it this year or like really thinking about educating yourself about finances, because life is getting expensive. We all do need to educate ourselves in any shape or form about money, and I hope that this channel does provide that confidence in you to start understanding your money a little bit better. But this video is not about that. This is more about asking for more money, because obviously we all work very hard, and I believe that a lot of us do deserve increases. So I've asked for money in various forms. I had 2 jobs. I have obviously my full-time job, and a few months ago I resigned from my part-time job I had for 8 years, and so I've asked my employer of my part-time job for like an increase in salary, and I've done the same with my full-time employer. The first thing I would like to let you know is that you need to get comfortable with asking for money. It is so hard and so difficult to just get the courage to do it, and so there are books that I would like to just mention that really helped me build the confidence to actually get to the point of asking for it. So obviously this book called The Psychology of Money, this is a brilliant and insightful book. It also tells you when to learn to stop asking for money, or to know when to stop the goalposts of when you are more content with what you currently have. I know a lot of us, when the minute we get more money, the more expenses go up. But so what I've been learning is that I need to start being content with what I currently have, and that is exactly what my husband and I are trying to do. We're trying to learn to be okay with what we have. So this is a very insightful book, and it does have a lot of information to build your courage up and to get to that actual point of asking for more money. And then another book that I will always advocate to people is Manage Your Money Like an Effing Grown Up. It is a South African context. There is a chapter about how to approach your employer for more money, so that you can maybe help with the debt that you currently have. And so this is an awesome book. You can see how old the pages are. The first time I ever asked for money or for more money was I actually asked my employer for a salary review. Now when you go and Google how to ask for a salary review example, a lot of them are sale orientated. I don't work in a sale orientated job. I'm more in like the marketing, website, digital marketing space, and so those examples really don't work. I mean, it's amazing what plethora of examples there are just for sales. So I had to find a workaround that works within the industry I work in. So what I did was I said, hey, can we talk about my salary review? I also asked a friend who works at my company to actually look it over, and I think it's also important to have another set of eyes look at your email. And I actually have it here, and I thought I would share it with you. And I said, you know, dear employer, I trust you while I'm writing to formally request a review of my current salary, as, and I wrote my title, and I said I've been working for the company for 6 years, and I explained a whole bunch of things, that I've been doing additional work, that I'm always ready and able, when it comes to taking on more responsibilities, and I believe a review of my track record with the company, my current contributions, along with the industry average salary, I believe that I should get an X amount or percentage increase. And then I wrote what my accomplishments were in the last year, and I actually wrote the different things that I've done. I said about the different processes that we've done. I worked on brand awareness, like adding value to the company. And then I obviously went and said further the average annual salary for my position, because my job isn't a straight cookie cutter job. It was so hard for me to do this, but one thing that I would write in the email for specifically a salary review is for you to go and do research on what the current market is paying for someone in your position. So the site that I used was PayScale, but there are a number of different websites that you can use, and it will ask you to write, you know, how long you've been working in the position, what is your title, what is your qualifications, all those bunch of things, and it will then pop up what the market is currently paying for your position. And then I wrote that according to the data from PayScale, this is what my salary is, but this is what the market is. Furthermore, thank you for your attention. In this matter, I'm willing to work with you to accommodate my request along with what is best for the company. Please let me know if you're available to discuss this. And I asked my friend to look at the email. She said it was great. She gave me some comments, and off I sent it. That was the first time I ever asked anything to my employer about money, and they said they'll come back to me, and they did. They actually gave me 2 times more than what I'd asked for. I asked for a 6%. They gave me a 20%. Now, not a lot of employers are going to be that generous. Some employers will come back, we can only give you X amount. You can decide whether you're happy with that or not. Other employers will say there isn't money in the financial year, or there isn't money in the company that can give you more of that. You can decide whether you want to stay on or if you want to look for another job. It all depends on you and what the response will be from your employer. Now, my second job, I haven't gotten an increase ever since I worked there, and I wrote a different email for that and how to tackle that type of situation. With my part-time job, this was a little bit different because on PayScale, it didn't really give me what the industry was popping out for people who work part-time in social media specifically. This was a little bit more tricky, and I said that I have worked for 7 years at this company. Now it just shows you how long I haven't got an increase from them. This is what my responsibilities are. Can we talk about us looking at me getting an X amount of money? Let's have a discussion. And that was it. I didn't go in a more formal detail. I didn't feel like I needed to go in a more formal detail, but the mere fact that I didn't get an increase in that amount of years, I just felt like there should be a time that we have a formal discussion about my role in that position, and is there any leeway that they can offer me a little bit more, just so that I can feel a little bit validated in what I've done over the past 7 years. And I actually sat down with my employer and discussed it. It wasn't the best outcome, just because I was really getting paid so low because I was part-time. I got a little bit extra and I was very happy with that. So that's another way that I had asked for just more money. I felt like I deserved a tiny bit what the company could offer me. Another way that you can approach this is actually take on more responsibility. Now, this happened to me this year, and I saw an opportunity where I wanted to leave my actual second job and then take on more responsibility, but with that responsibility came more money from my full-time employer. Now, how this worked in my favor, it might not be an opportunity for you, but you could say to your employer, listen, I'm willing to take on more responsibility, but with that responsibility I would like an X amount of money, or let's talk about you know, just a little bit of a percentage in my salary. So how this worked for me specifically is that someone resigned, and that person's job I had done before, so there was no training involved, and I was really in a place where I wanted to let go of my part-time job, but I knew that in letting go of my part-time job, it would significantly impact our budget in our household. And so the opportunity came at a very great time, because I was literally on the verge of leaving my part-time job, and this person resigned, and they asked if they should employ someone else. And I said, listen, instead of employing someone else, what about me taking on the responsibility? You wouldn't have to train someone. I know the work already, I've done it before, and let's talk about an increase. And they were actually taken aback by it, because I've never fully expressed money in their face. I've always done everything on email, but this time around I did it in the call. I said, don't hire someone, let me take on the work, and I would want a better salary. So they discussed it. It actually took about almost a month for them to come back to me, and they gave me an increase, and I was super happy about that. So another way that you can just think about it is, hey, let me see if my manager, for example, is overwhelmed. Maybe I can take on the responsibility, or take on a few of her tasks or his tasks, and say, hey, I'm willing to take this over, but let's talk about an increase. Let's talk about me getting a little bit of more money, and I can help you with your overwhelming tasks. So that was just another way that I approached that situation. Another way that you can also look at it is, say, I generally get an annual increase, and so whenever that time comes, I have a feedback session, we talk about stuff. And this time around, my employer actually forgot that it was my yearly feedback, and I set up the meeting. I was very excited, because I knew that the work that I've done, I know the pressure that I'm currently under. And we had the session, and they totally forgot about, you know, talking about an increase. Now, I don't know the financials of a company, or my company specifically. I don't see the books, I don't see the figures, they don't speak about it openly. So I was unaware if they were even able to afford to give me an increase this year, on top of the added responsibilities I'd done. And so it sat with me. I didn't feel comfortable with there being no talk about additional money. And a few days after I had that meeting, I set up another meeting with my manager, and I said, listen, X, Y, and Z, it's actually my yearly feedback. We had my yearly feedback, and there was no discussion about money. By now, I feel a lot more comfortable talking about money openly. This took me a long time to get to this point where I can speak about it as if it's nothing. I know not a lot of people can do that, but I believe that if you spend just a lot of time reading books, listening to podcasts, I will put as much information below that has helped me get to this point where I can confidently speak about it and not feel an ounce of guilt about it. I will link all of those resources below. And after speaking to my manager and being like, hey, it was my yearly feedback, they were like, oh my word, it's been just so busy, we didn't realize, I'm so sorry. And that's also fine. And they came back to me a few days and said, hey, this is what we can offer you, are you okay? I said yes, and off we went. There are so much information on the internet, on YouTube specifically, on different ways that you can approach your employer about asking for more money. This is just a number of ways that I have approached my employer when it came to increases or asking for, hey, I'm actually struggling financially. Is there a way that we can talk about you giving me just more money? Like, let's review my salary. Is it within the market? And you yourself also need to do the research. You can't just ask straight out for more money. You need to come with a plan. I would suggest you like really sitting down, being like, do I actually deserve an increase or a salary review? Write down everything that you've done, accomplished, the types of projects you worked on, was it successful, and look at what the market is offering. Say, I've gone to X, Y, and Z's website, and this is what the market is currently paying for my position, is there some wiggle room that we can discuss and talk about it? I really hope that this has helped you in any shape or form, and that you feel confident maybe this year or maybe the beginning of next year to really go and speak to your employer about being like, hey, can we chat? But also do your research, do planning, really sit down. When I did my first salary review email, it took me almost a month to find the confidence to hit the send button, but you will get there. I know you will. And I hope that this video was informative, and I will see you in my next financial video. Bye guys.